If you love football, if you love drama, if you love the CW, I don't know why you wouldn't tune in.
I love that this is on the CW where we have a lot of superhero stuff. You're kind of a different kind of a superhero show. Why did you want to bring your story to life, and how did you pitch it to them? This is what you need.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it was never a "this is what you need" moment. It was, I just had a conversation with a dear friend of mine, and we ended up getting a meeting with Robbie Rogers and Greg Berlanti, and just telling them literally 2 or 3 stories of my time in Beverly Hills and 2 or 3 stories of growing up and being a kid in South Central. And just from that, I think it was no more than an hour meeting, they fell in love with the story. And for the past 2 years, we've just been crafting and seeing where the story can go and just building these characters up. So, yeah, it's exciting.
What are you most excited for people to see when it comes to your character's journey throughout season 1?
I think just to see how he navigates the 2 worlds of Crenshaw and Beverly Hills. People might be surprised that we don't just stay in Beverly Hills. We move back and forth quite frequently. It's almost a 50-50 split between the time we spend, and watching him try to find his place both in Crenshaw and in Beverly Hills is for me one of the most exciting parts, because he gets to Beverly Hills and almost Crenshaw starts to leave him behind, and then he goes back and it's back.
Like a tug of war back.
Exactly, it's a tug of war. So yeah, I'm excited to see what people think of that.
Jordan? The fact that I can relate to him a little bit, being this mixed kid, trying to, have a foot in both worlds, that white and that black world. In his case, he's trying to fight for his dad's attention. The whole time you see him, every single time, and he's thinking, why doesn't dad give me this attention? Why does Spencer get dad's attention that I don't? I deserve that attention. And that to me was like, okay, yeah. I think that people will be able to relate to that. Maybe not exactly, but in a sense, they'll be able to relate to that. And I think that that's really what drew me to it. And it has football. I love football.
Olivia's very angsty. She's very angsty. A lot of emotional scenes, but she's a very fun-loving human being she's overcoming her own issues that she's been going through for some time. And but I think she's someone that once you get to know her, you'll love.
Once you peel back all the layers of the onions.
Yeah, exactly. Then you'll see, yeah.
What part of her journey are you excited for us to see as the season goes on?
I think for me personally, I really want to dive into, because we see her coming back from rehab. She was struggling with an addiction. And so, not that I want to see her relapse, but I want to explore the world of her not giving in to that part of herself.
Where the pilot is very much Spencer's journey, and he has a special place in my heart. As the series grows, as we get into episodes even 2, 3, 4, all of the characters take on their own shape and life and complexities, and I think I'm most excited for people to see that. We were talking about, one of the things I feel sort of the most proud of is that in the pilot there are a couple sort of stereotypical characters by design. The gang member, Cody's character is sort of like the, quintessential bad guy, and that we really worked hard to show them as human and flawed and real and lovable, and we didn't want to just tell the story of a gang guy or the bad football player. We really kind of built them into full humans, and I think that I'm excited for people to see.
Yes, I love that it's real. It's great.
Yeah, it's real.
Right? How did you guys build that chemistry? Because that's obviously a very important thing to work on.
Sam and I are both very goofy, and we're both comfortable with each other. We have a lot of intense scenes, and we have a lot of scenes, but at the same time, whenever we're off camera and we're just chilling, it's goofy. It's crack joke after one after another. And we both think that we both have a place in comedy at some point in our lives. That maybe being this dramatic brother-sister dynamic won't last forever.
Sometimes these drama shows do have some good comedic parts.
There are some good comedic parts for sure.
So how would you describe your character on the show?
He is a loving person. He supports his big brother. He's all for whatever he does. He wants to be Spencer when he grows up. In the neighborhood he's in, he tries to find all the good there is, and with Spencer, that's possible. He loves his family. He is just the all-around jokester. He likes to play around with Coop. He's just very angelic kid.
Coop is just Coop. She's very thorough. She's very straight up to the point, but also very soft, sweet, very encouraging, very motivating, to her peers and stuff. And realest thing on TV at the age of 16, I say.
Do you infuse some of yourself into this character, or is it like you a lot, or not?
Absolutely. I mean, there's certain elements of myself that I brought, especially the humor, the charismatic, my silly self. I try to, put that in. I mean, that's who I was in high school. I was a geek. I had everybody laughing all the time, and it's like that on set. I mean, of course, I got to follow the script, but, I try to bring it in a little bit.
I loved Laura's character when I read it instantly, because for me, sort of having done film and TV for the last 20 years, it was nice to be sort of in an age and a bracket where I got to play the matriarch of a show as opposed to the girlfriend, the affair, the whatever, objectified, you know what I mean? It was, she is without a doubt, the breadwinner of the family. She's a lawyer, she's running for DA, she's a mother of 2 children, she works full time, she's completely devoted to her husband and does it all, with a lot of gusto.
How did you build the chemistry with Daniel, who plays your brother? Because that's obviously a very important part of the show.
Of course. So when I got the job and I met Daniel for the first time, my mom had told me that he was the lead character and he was my big brother. So I had already introduced myself to Grace, who plays my mother. Well, Grace is my mother. And then I talked to him, and he was a very open person. He was the nicest guy in the room. Everybody was just so nice and, happy. But I got to know a lot about him, and he told me a lot about himself. I told him about me. He was just very open and kind.
What's it like being on a show like this on a network where it seems like everything's kind of, superheroes and supernatural and witches, and here you have a really grounded show that seems like a good family show, but also very relevant for the times?
I think it's good. I think it's going to be good for the CW. It's very refreshing for the CW, because you're right, this isn't really, I say this, it's not a superhero movie or show, but it kind of is. And
Different kind of superhero.
Yes, you will watch a bunch of high school kids save one another. You get what I'm saying? And I think that's just as much superhero as Black Lightning.
I heard you played football,
I
right?
played
So did
football.
you have to do that in the audition?
No,
No?
not at all, surprisingly.
So they would have banked on, if you got the role and you didn't play football, that you'd have to go to camp and learn.
Either have to go to camp and learn, or our doubles would take care of it. Yeah, something like that.
So how much of the football do you really get to do? And is it fun playing acting football,
It's different. It's definitely different from real football. It's slower in a way, but no, it's very much so fun. It's the days are long, and then your feet hurt because you got cleats on. But the football days are the best days in my opinion, because instead of sitting on a lot and being, whenever we're doing flipping the camera or wherever doing lighting, you're stuck there. Whenever you're on the field and you have the ball and you're with Cody and Daniel and the rest of the football gang that we have, the game changing, we can just throw the ball all day long because they're doing something on this end of the field and we're on this end. And we can have so much fun with it. I love that aspect of it.
Why would you tell people to tune in?
Because it's awesome. Seriously, it's. I want to watch the show, and I don't say that about a lot of projects that I do. I'm like, no, don't watch. Really, it's fine. But this one, I'm really proud of, because everybody that I'm working with is just incredible. Yeah, it's gonna be really good.
That generation of teenagers is probably the most important thing in this world right now. That generation of people has been so tainted, and they're dealing with so much, and I think they need the attention right now. So for parents, peers, big sisters, big brothers, or whatever, anything you see in this show, your brother, sister, friend, whatever, could potentially be going through. You know what I mean? And these are things that we have to deal so we can decrease this suicide rate and things that are happening with the young people. It's just sad to me.
It shows you truth about life. It shows you the love that you can imagine you can have. It's about opportunities. It's about family. The stuff you see in this show, you would be surprised. It just hit you. You want to go a full marathon of just sitting on the couch eating chips.